do it when you're hot, or even when you're not. You can do it fast, or slow to make it last. 'Cause any way you do it, there's gonna be magic to it. 'Cause love, 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 love is a gas.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
Today we're going to be covering 1979's Gas Pump Girls.
Pump it in! Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real coach.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl a little hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would decide to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
So before we start the show today, let's get a little grind business done. Just want to say thank you to a few people. First of all, thank you to Randall over at the Grolix podcast. Randall has responded to, he's a big fan of the hashtag Call Me Text story.
Oh, God.
But he is a champion of our podcast that has retweeted us and mentioned us and done many nice things for us. Randall, thank you.
Thank you, Randall.
And everybody go check out his podcast, Grolix Podcast. It's a fun one. It's comics, movies, all sorts of great things over
good.
there. And two good guys over there.
Good.
And then also, Fork Found Reviews. These are some guys, they're doing movie reviews as well, Chris. Just want to give them a little shout out because they're going to mention us on their show. But just say, go check them out. This week, Chris, they're covering dark comedies. One of our favorites, actually.
Oh.
Well, I've never heard of this one. Have you ever seen Ed and His Dead Mother? Never seen that one.
No, I have not.
But the other one is Death to Smoochie, which we've mentioned on this show
yeah.
a few times. We're both fans of that
Yes.
movie. So go check it out. Listen to their comments and reviews on it. Should be fun. So, Chris, Blairvember has ended.
I've got seasonal affective Blairvember disorder.
It's a real shame. However, it was a great boon for the show. We
Yeah.
upped our listenership by 50%, believe it or not.
Again,
during
where do you
Blairvember.
people come from? Where?
Okay, so I was going to mention that most of our listens come from the U.S. However, if you are one of our hundreds of listeners from France, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
We'd love to know your story and how you found the show and if you speak English, because I don't know if it's like expats over there or what it is, but it's interesting to me. Also, our other largest listener base in Canada is also in Quebec, which... is interesting to me because we have a lot of French listeners to this show, which I would have not anticipated.
Right.
We have had listens in every state in this country.
Yeah.
Including Iowa, which before like last week that was the only state that we didn't have one listen in. Thank you,
that's
one
right.
listener in Iowa.
Yeah.
for
Well, he was
clicking on the
probably
show.
looking for like the grinder bin or something. Who knows?
Yeah, he's a big Night Force fan, so he jumped on the bandwagon, you know.
Oh, it's the movie! Oh, God!
Some of these are funny, though. It's like, I see, like, listens from Iran, and I'm like...
Huh.
Like, how do they fucking stumble upon this show? I don't know. So, it's an interesting one. And also China. I don't even know you could get iTunes in China, but, well, you know, what are you going to do?
Maybe the other streaming services that offer it. Maybe it's, soldiers on, on deployment on this show. I don't know.
But pretty much every country in North and South America has listened to this show. The only place, we have had Russian listeners all over the place, Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
We have a lot of listeners in the UK, obviously France.
Yeah. I'll see you guys in June.
Oh, you're going to France?
Yeah, we're
that'd
playing
be
the Hellfest festival over there.
Uh-huh.
Aerosmith is headlining. So any grind binners, say hi.
Yeah.
Out of one of many millions of people that'll be there.
There are literally hundreds of people that listen to this show in France, and
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but I'd love to hear from one of you.
Yeah.
Please, grindbin@gmail.com. Just send us one email and let us know you're a listener from France. That would be great. Mm-hmm. The only country that hasn't listened to us is basically most of the countries in the continent of Africa. Like, I'm real depressed that I don't have any Republic of Congo listens or Sierra Leone.
It's keeping me up at night because I'm taking the Grindbin on tour. I will be in South Africa
Well, South
in
Africa, we have had listens.
Oh,
to.
we have?
Yeah, we've had listens
Oh.
to South Africa. But no, come on. Come on, Somalia? What the fuck? No pirates listening to this show
Yeah.
while they're out in their fucking boats doing their meth? Like, come on. I'd like to believe when they kidnap a Captain Phillips type boat, they're playing Grindbin over the speakers,
Yeah,
you know?
keeping the crew calm.
It's the torture. Like, you just see them putting the crew in a room and they're like, and now you're going to listen to a review of Black Devil Doll. No! So we start December, though, with not a Crown movie, but boy, a movie that would fit into the Crown International catalog.
without a doubt.
Almost. It just feels like it fits right in. If you put the Crown logo in front of this movie, I couldn't have told a difference.
No, the problem is that it has too much quality to be a Crown movie. There's actually 3 acts to this film, as far as I could count.
You know, but that's the thing, Chris. When you say, well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on
Okay.
that. And as far
Maybe
as the
2.
quality goes,
I would say there's maybe 2 acts.
I would say it's quality enough. It's about on par with the quality of like The Van, maybe.
I think it's a little bit more polished. Than the
Really?
Van. I think it's more polished than the Van. There's actual crane shots of this.
Well, anybody can rent a crane. So the movie, released in 1979, filmed in Sacramento,
Yep.
California. Actually, not in L.A. Now, here's the interesting thing, though, Chris. The gas station in the movie, Joe's Super Duper, still exists in the same location as of 2009. It still has the gas pumps in front of it and the whole building, and it even has a heart-shaped sign that says Joe's Super Duper.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I was like, I think we're going to L.A. Then it said Sacramento, so
It's still there in the town that they filmed
Okay.
this in as of 2009. However, it is not a gas station where it's a recycling plant. But the building is still there, intact.
and it still has a super duper sign.
Yes, and the one across the street has been demolished and turned into an empty lot. So that's it.
Well, Joe Super Duper prevailed
Yeah.
in the end.
So the crew, the director, and one of the writers on this movie. Okay, hold on. How many writers you think for this movie?
I'm gonna say a lot.
Well, our old standby 3 writers for
Yep.
this movie.
Yep.
We'll get to them. One of them is also the director, Joel Bender. First movie he directed, he has 14 credits. After this, he did 1983, The Returning, 1991, Rich Girl, 1993, Midnight Kiss. He's still directing some things today, even. He also works as an editor for some smaller movies as well as some TV, and he is responsible for editing the Power Rangers TV series.
Oh, cool.
3 writers, of course. Every one of these fucking movies has 3 writers in it. Like we said, the worse the movie, the worse the content, the more the writers.
One to hold down the napkin, the other to write it, another to feed the ideas.
3 writers, and they can't even come up with a joke. So David A. Davies, he also produced this film, also one of the writers. 2 credits, 1979, Gas Pump Girls, and 1990, a TV movie called Buried Alive, and this was directed
Yeah.
by Frank Darabont.
Yeah, I've
he
seen
wrote
that
that movie.
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The writer of this movie, Chris. One of the writers of this movie wrote Buried Alive, which is much different than this movie.
Very different, yeah.
It's an interesting one. I'd recommend everybody go check that one out.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Isaac Blech, who's the other writer, only credit, but he also composed some of the songs on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Cast: Kirsten Baker, who plays June, wonderful actress.
What a set of pipes.
Oh boy! So this was one of her first movies. Then she went on to 1980 Midnight Madness, which is a Disney movie. Quite a departure from this. 1981 Friday the 13th Part 2. She was the counselor Terry in that movie. 1983 Please Don't Eat the Babies, which is a movie she was in. And 1987 Weeds, which is a movie, and it stars Nick Nolte. Here's from her trivia. Little is known about her whereabouts. In 1993, she was seen working at an art gallery in L.A. and hasn't been seen by fans since. She does not appear at Friday 13th conventions, so it's
So she was, wow. That
just fell off the face of the earth.
Wow, over 20 years.
Originally, I think you can find her singing songs at abandoned gas stations. Originally filmed a supporting role in Jaws 2, believe it or not, which came out before this movie.
Yeah.
But reshoots occurred, and she was eventually cut out. I wonder if it had to do anything with her acting. But I mean, spoiler alert, she is not the best actress.
No.
And the way she delivers her lines in this movie is like, I don't know, like, eye lines obviously were not an issue. And who or what she's talking about, I don't know.
Ideas come and go out loud in her head. Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, very much so. Sandy Johnson, who plays April in this movie, who's our girl that's going to find out what you can do in the front seat of a car while it's on a lift. Don't have the credits written down, Chris, but it's been a long time. I have a bio by one Woody Anders.
Give me some wood!
If you don't know, if you haven't listened to the show before, Woody Anders is responsible for over 1,300 bios and reviews on IMDb. We read some of his bios on here on occasion.
Yeah.
We're a big fan of Woody's. We've never spoken to Woody. We won't speak to Woody.
Unless he reaches out to us.
Yeah, exactly. I do have his email, but I won't send that email. So, comely, busty, and sexy brunette stunner Sandy Johnson was born on July 7th, 1954 in San Antonio, Texas. She grew up in San Antonio and has 4 older sisters. Johnson attended Santa Monica Community College. Sandy was Playmate of the Month in June 1974. Johnson made a regrettably brief foray. I don't know what he means, regrettably brief foray into film acting in the wake of her Playboy pictorial. Sandy achieved her greatest enduring cult cinema popularity as Michael Myers' ill-fated sister, Judith Margaret Myers, who gets brutally murdered by her crazed younger brother during the startling opening sequence of Halloween. Johnson had more substantial supporting parts in the amusing lowbrow drive-in comedy romps Surfer Girls, Jokes My Folks Never Told Me, Hots, and Gas Pump Girls. Sandy Johnson's last movie role to date was a ballroom dancer in Mel Brooks' typically broad fright feature send-up, Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
Ken Lerner, who plays Pee-wee in this movie, is one of the greaser guys.
Yeah.
148 acting credits, believe it or not. Most well-known for being the principal Flutie on Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series.
Really?
Yeah. I've never seen that show, but is he? Have you seen it?
Yeah, like in the 90s.
Yeah, well, he was the principal.
Oh.
The guy, the real smart one
Yeah.
in the greaser group. Huntz Hall, who plays Uncle Joe. Not going to go into his full background credit, but 119 credits. He did a lot of movies in the 30s and 40s. He was also in 1974's Herbie Rides Again, which is so odd in the amount of Disney connections there is to this movie, which is strange.
Plenty. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
But he's a well-known actor, and people were commenting how they enjoyed seeing him in this movie. Last credit I got, Dennis Bowen. Grindbin All-Star.
Yeah. His face looks so familiar. I'm like, he's got to be in this, and sure enough.
Well, he plays Roger in this movie, but we all know him as Greg from Van Nuys Boulevard. So, Chris, before we get into it, let's take a listen to the trailer.
Gas Pump Girls are having fun now that school is out, and the whole town is there for the making.
Gee, I hope I can remember everything I have to do. Don't worry, it's just 4 easy steps. Grab it, stick it in, squeeze it, and let it peter out.
Gas Pump Girls, a motion picture delight when our girls change over a gas station and turn it into a fun station with sounds that will get you dancing while your tank is getting filled.
We'll treat you like there's no one else in the world.
'Cause anyway,
What's going on here?
Don't you need just a teeny weeny bit of gas?
I love it. Hey, girls! Woo! Hey! Come on, let's go check this thing out.
Hey, gorgeous. Can I help you with anything?
Yeah. Could you hold this for me?
any way you do it, there's gonna be magic to it. 'Cause
I always have so much trouble with these things.
Just what is it you're selling here?
Gas!
You gonna pump gas in my little pickup here?
Would you like regular or super duper?
'cause any way you do it, there's gonna be magic to it. 'Cause love.
Gas Pump Girls, drive in and check them out. Rated R, under 17, had a minute without parent.
We start, Chris, on a static shot of a gas station. Not an exciting intro to this movie.
No,
it's
is
just a fucking still picture of a gas station.
with title credits over it.
And Cousin Brucey doing the voiceover. Now, Cousin Brucey is a long-time radio DJ, and he still does a radio station, believe it or not. If you have Sirius XM radio and you go to Channel 6, Cousin Brucey has a weekly show. It's still him, Chris. And when I heard this,
Wow.
when his voice came on, I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked it up. It was him.
No way, that's
Same
awesome.
guy. And the credits that roll, song that rolls over the credits of this movie is "Love Is a Gas," which you heard there.
I was
briefly
dying.
In the
I was
trailer.
like, yep, here we go. We'll just come rolling on in.
Okay, so we see this like nice gas station, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the shot comes alive and things start moving, and then we have, like you said, the one crane that they brought over. Crane shot over to this really shitty gas station right next to this gas station, and we see this guy Joe just sleeping behind a desk, and then a car pulls up and like honks a horn, and then it just drives off. I guess he got impatient.
Yeah.
Goes across the street to the goods station, and then we just see as Joe like kind of just goes around and tries to kill a fly. Nothing really happens. It's a real sad sack, this guy.
Yeah.
Then we go to high school graduation, and this is where this movie kind of starts to be like, in my mind, this movie is a lot like The Van in a lot of ways.
I see. Okay. Yes, as The Van also started with a high school graduation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a same type of prank. Like, this movie really reminds me of The Van in a lot of ways. Just replace, like, Stuart Goetz with whoever plays Roger, you know, and then you got, although he's not, I wish he was luring people into his van. You know?
Yeah, he's not as leering or lecherous as Bobby.
Oh, and I do have to say, the acting in this movie. Like, I'll just say right now, I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was fun. It's great. It's 70s.
It flowed great. I wasn't bored for one frame.
No, but for fuck's sake, the acting in this movie is like, you couldn't do 2 takes? I mean, fuck. Some of these people, it's just, the way they deliver lines, like, I guess, Greg in Van Nuys Boulevard was not a good character. He's the worst character in the whole movie, but man, he was worse in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, way worse.
Yeah.
He just kind of stands there and screams.
Yeah, he does.
He's just like, yeah. That's it. And his girlfriend, June, who's the main character of this movie, I mean, we're going to play some of the lines, but
I don't see it.
For God's sake.
What was the audition for this like? What was the casting call for this?
You want to know what the audition was, Chris?
Please do.
The producer opened a Playboy, flipped through it, went, oh, yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Call this bitch, call this bro.
I'm thinking more of a hustler than a Playboy. Like, Playboy's a little more classier, but...
Okay, so he's got a hustler and a Playboy side by side, and he just picks whatever girls he likes and goes, call them up.
Yeah.
Like, sir, do you want to see any sort of acting reels? Or what? Which is kind of weird that, like, this movie plays itself as very titillating, yet there's only, like, real 2 scenes of nudity. Now, I did write down one review of this movie, which I'll get to at the very end, but a lot of people complained that it didn't have enough nudity for them. They were very upset about that.
Yeah, this is more of a dry hump for them.
The movie was fine, but there wasn't enough boobs. Like, they're just yelling online about it. So
the whole movie was one big blue ball.
So we started this high school graduation, and those principals on stage giving a speech, and then we see these greasers in the crowd, right? These 3 guys that dress in like they're out of grease.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Bow tie or neckties.
Like, they all look like fucking Fonzie from Happy Days, right? And by the way, this movie doesn't take place in the 50s.
No.
But these guys look like they just stepped out of a time machine. Like, they hit that jukebox in Happy Days a little too hard and fell into some time warp. Did they go to this school?
We don't know.
I don't know.
No, I tried to decide.
But they sure hang around it a lot, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So these 2 greasers, these 2 of them are in the crowd. And then a third one, we see him crawl up onto the stage, Chris. And what does he do?
He's going to do the old... Okay, first off, when someone's crawling on a stage and you're on your hands and knees between rows of chairs, you would get noticed, I'm thinking?
That's what... the second row's going to notice him.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh, that must be the sound guy wiring the microphone for the principal. And so he
also, the crowd can clearly see this guy. Because his friends in the audience are like, huh!
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Watch him. Okay, before I comment on this.
I swear to God, though, he like pushes somebody's shoulder next to him like,
Okay, can we comment on the size of the graduating class compared to the size of the people in the crowd? Because the ratio of students to parents is grossly disproportionate.
There's like maybe 50 people that go to the school.
I know,
You have like 500 people in that audience.
Because I'm thinking maybe the finals are just that tough that not everybody got to graduate. But then I see the intelligence of these people later in this film, and it just doesn't add up.
Chris, the fact that these people graduated, I'm like, is this a real high school? Or are we talking talking like a little special ed school.
Well, some of these kids look like senior year was the best 3 years of their life.
You know, it's 1979. I guess you didn't need to learn how to read to graduate back then or something.
Or be able to put together a coherent sentence. So he's on his hands and knees crawling through these chairs, and he's attaching these gowns, graduation gowns of the females, to the chairs, so that when they stand up, there's gonna be a little reveal and
a little reveal.
a little peekaboo is gonna
So then the speech ends.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this is a crowd of like seriously like 500 people and there's like 2 claps.
Yeah.
This guy's
Maybe they can't hear it from the back.
like they're just this like crickets, you know. And then this lady gets up and says, "Oh, now the students are gonna sing a song."
Yeah.
I'm like, in what fucking graduation do you make the students sing a song?
Okay, any listeners out there, if your graduating class had to sing a class song, please let us know and what that song was about. If you have remembered any lyrics, please send it to us.
I've never seen this before, man.
Neither have I. No, I mean now they just play a song in the background while you sit there. Like let's guess in 1998 how many classes had to sit through Green Day's "Good Riddance" in the background, and they sat there staring at the parents
Or
going,
that time of your life or whatever it is.
Kill me now, do it.
So Chris, they stand up to sing the song,
Mm-hmm.
and the gowns, like you said, a little reveal.
Yeah.
So the gowns of some of those girls just go flying off in the front row, and
Yeah.
apparently all of them didn't decide to wear clothes underneath the gown.
Well, because they were ready for the graduation after party with their boyfriends right afterwards.
Oh, I can't wait to get to
Keep
that
the
part,
car
by the way.
running.
So they all like freak out, and all the audience is like, "Whoa, whoa!" And you know the greasers are like, "Oh boy!" Like, and all the girls except for one cover up, and this one girl, April, just starts like going into a fucking solo at this point,
Yeah.
and she's like dancing around, and they have to like pull her off the stage.
And then this is the part where the curtains aren't working properly. Like, oh no, the curtains they don't work. Or I see like each side of the stage having like a tug of war where the curtain's like, maybe if I pull it, no, he's pulling it too. They just won't close. What's going on? Like they never worked them before. They never had to.
Oh.
All of their performances and plays were just open curtain, set up, strike. You saw it all, folks.
This movie starts quite strong,
Yeah.
with its van-esque intro. Like, as in the van, they try to murder the principal
Yeah.
by collapsing the stage on them. And this movie, they just, these greasers, we don't know their age. I hope these girls are all over, of legal age.
Yeah.
Just a little, start out with a little bit of sexual harassment, a little bit of sexual assault, you know? So we go. So we cut to the girls' locker room, and they're getting dressed, and the dumb girl, April, she's kind of sitting around, still not dressed, by the way. All the other girls are getting dressed around her, and she's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "April, why aren't you upset?" Or whatever, and she's all, "I don't know, I kind of liked it. Kind of liked all the guys looking at me." And they're like, "Wait." They're like, "You were just, your clothes were ripped off in front of your parents and hundreds of people."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, I kind of liked it."
Strangers.
And so June, oh God, wonderful actress, main character, she tries to talk to sense into her. And I would say that, like, if you've listened to our teacher episode, June delivers her lines a lot like Jay North delivers his lines in The Teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Where she just kind of like looks at some point, not the character, that, like I said, eyeline is not an issue. Her, sometimes she's almost looking into the camera.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's just like kind of looking at a fly on the wall. And she talks, she just is like, "April, you should not want to be naked." And it's like, okay, thank you. Take one, we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Move on. That's a wrap.
You don't want one for safety? Yeah. It was fine.
I'm good. And so basically they're like trying to convince her, like, no, you shouldn't like that. Yeah, we can obviously see the career path April is on at this point. But then Betty, who's like the brunette and the real, I guess you would say stuck up one, but she's not
yeah,
stuck up at all. She's just...
No stick in the
She's
mud.
a little mean. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
stick in the mud. She goes up to her. She's like, "No, April. No, you don't get it. You got to use your body to get shit out of men." And then she like goes into this long speech about how to do it, and this basically just ends.
Yeah.
So then we go to this town hall, and there's like some sort of community dance night or something for the college student or for the high school students now. Like I guess it's their grad night. Is like some dance in a community center. I guess.
Yeah, that's about it.
Because at first I thought, oh, this is one of these movies in LA, but it's not. It's like in some small town, I guess. So okay, basically there's all these kids in there dancing, and then the greasers are standing outside at the windows, and they're like, oh, look at that girl, oh, look at that girl. And again, I write, I don't understand. Have these guys not graduated yet, or are they like just older guys that troll the high school all day?
Yeah, I think that's what they are. Or else, why else would you be? Okay, don't you need an invite to go to graduation ceremonies?
Well, that's why they're just... yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Wait.
okay. So they must...
And by the way, they were in like the front row.
Yeah.
They got there early, you know, like, well, these broads gonna be here. Better get in the front row. Get in the front row.
Yeah. So who do you think invited them? Who do they know? Who got them in? Or did they just go through the window?
Well, that's what they try to do here. Is they're trying to get into this dance by sneaking through the window.
Yeah.
Because apparently they're all like 25 and want to creep on high school girls all day.
Oh, God.
So then they got the dumb guy, so Pee-wee, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he starts... So they're like sitting outside, and he starts joking around about how he's dating his bike or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's stupid. It's uncomfortable.
It goes on for like 3 minutes. And he's like, has a name for her and everything. It's like Myrtle or something. And
I'm sorry. No, Mike, it's Moidle.
Oh, yeah, they all have this like 1950s twang to their voice, too.
Like
He's
real...
like, oh, yeah, Moidle.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, well, they really couldn't have cared that much about this joke, the filmmakers, because they didn't even care to fucking focus the goddamn camera. It's he's like delivering his lines, and he's so fucking out of focus. In like any other instant, they would be like, no, we got to cut it out. But they're like, well, the movie's only 80 minutes. We leave it in. Nobody will notice. They're going to be so excited from what just happened in that locker room and on that stage. You know, no. Guy's going to think he's seeing blurry anyways, you know.
The crowd's going to be... Their eyes are watering from the laughter. All right? They're laughing their eyes out. They won't know the difference.
So then Greg from Van Nuys Boulevard shows up, but in this movie his name is Roger, and he like goes up to the greasers. He's like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" One of the greasers actually spits on him. So they like get in a kind of a fight, and the actor literally spits on this guy, and I'm like, I would not have just sat there and took that. I would have been fucking pissed.
Yeah. I don't think that was scripted.
No.
He
like says something to him, and the guy's like, oh yeah, and he spits in his face, and I'm like, holy shit. Because Roger just kind of stands there. He's like, and that's, he just takes it, I guess.
No normal guy would have just been like,
And then like this dorky security guard who looks like Poindexter from Revenge of the Nerds comes up and like chases them off with his nightstick.
Is he like what, the hall monitor, security? I can't tell what he
I have
was.
no idea.
Yeah.
So then we go to, this is one of my favorite parts. So now it's after the dance in this car, and Roger's driving around, right? With all his, here come the boys, he's got his two buddies up in front and all the girls piled in the back, and he just looks at his friend and he goes, uh-oh, we're almost out of gas. Looks like we just have enough to get to Lookout Point. I put brilliant line, buddy. Uh-oh. Can't take you home, girls. And they're just going to go up to this point and see what happens.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Fill her up if you know what I mean.
Fill her up. But this doesn't work because June leans over the front seat and she goes, no, Roger, my Uncle Joe has a gas station. Let's go over to there.
Was he like, bitch?
Yeah, he kind of looks at it, he's like, all right.
Yeah.
So then they go to this shithole gas station, and we see Uncle Joe. He comes out. So, like, the car pulls up. You have this. I know you're laughing about a part. Is it when the guy looks at Betty and he goes, would you like a tiger in your tank?
Yeah.
I just tried at this point. We are starting strong.
Mm-hmm.
The one-liners are flowing like the gas.
Yeah.
So then basically, like, this is all June, like, pumps some gas into this car, and Uncle Joe comes out with some fucking sob story about how he's doing all bad. But then he starts going into how he's like, and I tell you what, I get these pains all over. Like, I got these headaches, my vision's blurry, my back's hurting. I'll tell you what, I got this creeping pain that's gone all the way up to my chest.
For my left arm, it's going numb.
My arm, I can barely move this fucking thing. And And she just looks at him and she goes, "Oh, you're fine, Uncle Joe."
Like, how was she qualified to know this?
She's like, "Shut up."
I don't feel a thing. How come you do?
So then we go to Jude's house. So like,
Oh,
all right.
God, my
So
favorite.
the whole night was ended.
Yeah.
We never even
Yeah.
got to go see like
wanna
what
s-
happened at Lookout
Yeah,
Point.
that
or
would have
any
been
of that.
great.
I know, we didn't get to see what happens on the last night of high school for these kids. Instead, it's just now June and Roger in front of her house. So he's dropping her off, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you do look up where Joe's Super Duper is, it looks like June's house is actually a house that's right next to this gas station.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In real life.
For sure.
Which is interesting. So the night's over. Everyone's gone except her and Roger. And he drops her off, and they're kind of kissing a little bit in the front seat. And then he gives the old "It's the crossroads of our lives" speech. Yeah. Obviously hoping for a little of the old in and out. You know?
Yeah, at least a little bit of the old fist action is what he's hoping for. They're parked. It's dark.
He's laid it on thick.
He's way thick.
We might never see each other again.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then all of a sudden, he's like saying this speech. And then for no reason, he kind of just like goes catatonic himself. Yeah. And he just kind of like just stares off into the distance. It doesn't say a word, and she just gets out of the car, and he just kind of like drives off like he's been hypnotized.
Yeah.
Or something.
What would have been great is if he drove off and you hear like trash cans banging around, like the cat meow. Like just crash into a wall.
Like it's almost like it was a robot, and he just finished his thing, and then he just goes, yeah, and just stares.
Like some great moments with Lincoln ride to Disneyland.
It's like a fucking animatronic thing.
You think this is how all of their dates ended? Because it's just so casual. It's never really addressed. Like, are you Roger? Are you all right? Are you all right? It's just like, oh,
She doesn't even say anything. He
No.
just says these things, and he's like, and then
she gives herself the old Irish exit. You know?
she's like,
Nope, see you tomorrow.
So she goes into her house, Chris.
Yeah.
And there's this whole gag where she like steps on a cat.
I think the cat was the star of the show. The cat was marvelous.
She picks up the cat, and then all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's like her mom or something, and she's like, "Mom, what happened?" Cut to, well, Uncle Joe was trying to warn you. Apparently, he's laying in bed, right? And this doctor's there. And so he looks at the doctor. Uncle Joe looks at the doctor at one point, and he says, like, Woody Woodpecker or something? And I don't get it.
Neither do I.
Where's the fucking joke?
You got me.
Like, the guy doesn't walk into the door and say, like, like, he doesn't.
Maybe it was a cutting room floor scene. Who knows?
But they left this in.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense. Just throw in a pop culture reference. What are the kids like? Woody Woodpecker? Yeah, throw that shit in.
Yeah. He-Man, yeah.
So then the doctor kind of walks away, and he goes to the family and is doing the old, he's not going to make it.
Now's the time to make arrangements. Get his affairs in order. Sign here, please.
Walks towards the family, and he's just shaking his head, and he's got his head lowered, and they're like, "Oh my God, Doc, what's the news?" And he's like, "I got this pain in my neck." And he's like, oh yeah, your uncle. Oh no, yeah, he's just had a heart attack. No big deal.
I just slapped him on the back a few times. He's good. He's
He
good.
writes, he just says he just had a mild heart attack. No fucking big deal. Basically, it's like, shouldn't he still be in the hospital?
Apparently, you just walked this off in the 70s.
He's like, no,
Yeah.
it's no problem. You know, he'll be fine.
This is the baby boomer generation. They knew how to handle themselves, you know?
Because they walk into the room with. June's like, Uncle Joe, are you okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'll tell you, I still got all these pains and my chest is hurting. It's like, I don't think the doctor did shit.
No.
He's still having the heart attack, buddy.
No, I think he used that. What was that thing they bounce on your knee? I think he just used that on his balls.
No,
That was it.
It's fine. I mean, he's got a pulse. What do you want?
He's here talking. He's coherent.
Medical science hasn't really advanced to the point where we know what to do. It's 1979. I mean, heart attack, he's alive. Yeah. Drink a lot of water, fluids.
Plenty of rest, plenty
Take
of
an
water.
aspirin, he'll be fine in the morning.
Bayer.
He puts him on some Bayer.
I'm strict regimen of Bayer.
Yeah, you'll be fine, Joe.
Every hour
You'll be
on the
fine.
hour.
So they walk out of the room with Uncle Joe after some guy tries to steal money out of his wallet or something. which was a real odd joke they threw in. And then, like, so his wife says to the family, she's like, oh, we're going to have to sell that gas station. It was the only thing we had left. And there's this real sob story. And basically, we've now devolved this movie into Lunch Wagon.
Yeah.
Which is another movie we've covered.
We don't get a moment.
We did get a stroke in that movie, or what I believe to be.
Yeah.
This one's a heart attack.
Yeah.
And somehow now, June, well, she doesn't know what to do, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
She just says, like, oh, well, I'll help Uncle Joe somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Chris, we fade into...
Oh, well, I wanted to go into... I want to rewind real quick. That's
Okay.
been on my mind. Is when he's introducing... his niece to the kids, or his kids already know him, the kids know him, but he's holding her and kind of handling her like in a Hugh Hefner way.
Oh,
Did you
God,
notice
the
that?
way he is with this girl, he's like, you're my favorite niece. You're my
Yeah.
favorite niece.
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
Because I saw, like, where are his hands?
Oh, you're looking thin.
Yeah, like, where were his hands during this scene? I'm trying to remember. All I can think of is maybe that's how he got the heart attack.
He just walks out with some raging hard on.
Yeah. It's like, my ticker!
Well, he does spoiler, ends the movie by saying, she always was my favorite niece. Like, what that means, I don't know.
Those overalls were a little tight that night.
When he's laying in the bed, he's like, get closer, June, get closer. Oh, you smell beautiful. You smell beautiful. Come here, bend over the bed. Give your old Uncle Joe a kiss. No, not there, not on the lips, you know. It might be my last night on Earth.
Ever want to know what an Uncle Joe sandwich tastes like? Ever want to have a sloppy Joe?
We go from the scene in that bed to the one and only musical number.
Oh, God. So she's sitting there.
So wait, June doesn't know what to do.
No.
But she always has to ponder out loud to the audience. Because she has no inner thoughts.
Right, because
everything's on the surface with this girl.
There is a tiny crack in the fourth wall, which will later be demolished completely.
God, yeah. Okay, so what'd she do, Chris? She sits at this gas station.
She's got her hands, on her chin, just in a very, instant, hey, what do we do? And we break into a song, which I am thinking, oh, this is going to be like, Grease, but with a gas station.
No, it's like just the one and only full musical number where she sings like it's a fucking musical.
Yeah. Because I thought that's what this film was going to be. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cute.
Nope, this movie just has one musical number. It becomes a musical at one point for no reason. And we just watch her sing to the audience and dance around this gas station about what she's going to do. And
I would have loved to confiscate the security footage of this. Of that happening and have her fucking committed.
imagine somebody just driving past and being like, oh, it's that crazy girl.
Oh, I'm low on gas, but not that low. It just keeps going.
What if some guy pulls up and he's honking? He's like, can you fill her up or what? So
that's how she got the idea.
Yeah. So apparently she has an idea because she ends and she's like, that's it. Mm-hmm. And we're like, well, we don't really know, but okay. The whole song is like, me and my friends are gonna da-da-da-da.
A real Jack Tripper kind of get together, you know?
I'm lonely and I don't want to be. Don't know why these feelings have come over me. I'm lonely and I finally see how I need the people who are close to me. Just give me all of my friends and I'll be happy again. Oh, bring them back home where you know they belong. Just give me all of my friends. I'm in heaven again, feeling like the whole world is singing along.
So then we go to the next day.
Yeah.
The next day at the big gas station, and we quickly realize that Archie Bunker runs this gas station across the street.
It's so good.
This guy is like seriously looks just like Archie Bunker, acts like him. Mm-hmm. If only he had a fucking recliner.
Mr. Friendly.
So Mr. Friendly, who I'm just gonna call Archie Bunker for the rest of this movie. He just kind of. He sits in his office all day, and he kind of like wanders around the gas station a lot. Mm. And what is he always doing, Chris?
Smoking a cigar.
At a fucking gas station!
Thank you.
Not once in this movie did they ever decide that anybody smoking near a gas pump was a bad idea. throughout this whole fucking movie, people are just lighting up cigarettes, smoking
Flicking
cigars,
them out.
ashing all over the fucking
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Like Archie Bunker's like leaning over a gas tank. He's like, I fill it up good, bro.
Because I thought that was how this movie was going to end.
One of the gas stations is just gonna explode. So he's just kind of sitting in his office and he looks across the street and he sees June and all her friends kind of like redoing Joe's gas station, and they're like painting it and like putting up stuff. And he just looks at these two friends, or these two guys that work for him, and he goes, you know, look at these quote dumb broads over there wiggling their pretty asses and cleaning it up. What are they doing? And he just starts laughing and laughing.
His laugh is the greatest. It's like,
And this will be a thing throughout this movie where they're like, broads and gas. Oh my God, they don't mix, do they?
real progressive film this was meant to be.
Look at them dumb broads wiggling their little asses, huh? That old fart really lost his marbles this time, didn't he? look at that, Louie. we got competition.
And now the gas station, Uncle Joe's place, is now called Joe's Super Duper.
Yeah.
They have now fixed it up. It's all painted pink, and they put like a big heart sign, and all the girls are just wearing tiny little crop top or like t-shirts that they basically cut up to the end of a breast. So there's just plenty of under boob, I guess you would say.
Yeah, you're not leaving much to the
You
imagination.
know, it's 1979. Bras have not been invented.
No.
They are just freewheeling it.
Yeah.
With
The
these.
pasty was a mere thought.
Like they spend more time pulling down their tops to try to cover up than they do pumping gas. So, and they got these tiny little shorts on. And I do got one problem with it. I said it's called Joe's Super Duper. Super Duper what?
Super duper formula. Mike,
like
it's a formula of gas.
They just fucking ran out of the sign space, so they're
Yeah.
like, well, we were going to put Joe's Super Duper gas, but I guess everybody will know it's a gas
Or
station,
maybe
right?
Joe is super duper.
Oh.
See?
So June has to teach April, the real smart one, the real Mensa girl in this group, you know. She's going to MIT once the summer's over. How to use a gas pump. And I mean every fucking step. Like, she goes on to this whole thing of, like, you know, oh, well, all you got to do is turn it on, and then you put it in the car. And she goes through, like, teaching a fucking 5-year-old how to pump gas. I guess this is before, like, self-serve.
Well, they were just trying to get in a cheap gag with that, and that's it.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It devolves into
Yeah.
a sexual reference gag,
Right.
which we'll play right here. But it doesn't get there until after she goes through the whole process of pumping gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because April's like, oh, God, I don't know if I'm going to remember that. It's like, you're not going to remember taking a fucking hose and putting it in a car and pressing a button? In one part, she's like, well, how do I turn it off? It's like, well, stop fucking squeezing it. Like, Jesus Christ. Have you ever opened a door? It's about that hard. I mean, fuck. Do I push it before it's in the tank, or I don't get it?
Just a splash.
Gee, I hope I can remember everything I have to do. Don't worry, it's just 4 easy steps. Grab it, stick it in, squeeze it, and let it peter out.
All right, Chris. So then their first customer rolls in.
Yeah.
This guy is like straight out of fucking Deliverance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this dude rolls up in like some red truck, right? And he pulls up and he just gets out of his truck and he just kind of like, he's got this smile on his face. He's like,
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
and he looks at all these girls and he's like, what is it you're selling? And I write, you know, I don't blame him for asking.
Yeah.
The way these girls are dressed
Yeah.
around a gas station, I don't blame him. And he's just like looking at him like, what's going on around here? And she's like, we're selling gas. And she delivers this to the sky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like looking at the fucking Goodyear
This is
blimp.
like when you ask a little girl what she's selling at the Girl Scout cookie drive. Mint Milanos! It's like equivalent to that delivery.
I couldn't help noticing you pretty young girls all lined up here. Is this some sort of practical joke or something? I mean, just what is it you're selling here?
Gas.
So he's like way, way, way too happy about these girls selling gas. He's like, you're gonna pump gas in my car, looking like that. Boing. They should have had that sound of a little boing. Oh man. So then he's like, why don't you girls check under my hood? And he lifts it up, and this is all just great opportunity to use sexual jokes about crankshafts and ball joints and
for sure,
lube jobs, and it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
And then June gets on the phone. Well, basically they're like, well, we don't know anything about cars. And he's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. It's a gas station. And then she gets June has another bright idea. And she goes inside and she picks up the phone. She calls Roger. And she's like, Roger, I know you and your friend know a lot about gas cars. Can you come here work? And then, here come the boys! So Roger and the boys roll in, and they are just like, they're looking at the girls working, they're like, whoa! And like, the eyes are just popping out of their fucking heads. Yeah. They're like, whoa, whoa! Before the car even stops, one of the guys trying to climb out of the convertible. Like, they're still pulling in. He's like, oh my God!
Yeah. I would have let him like to lean out and like hit the side of the pump.
So they roll to the station. They're all shocked that women can pump gas, like every guy in this fucking town. And then basically, like, June doesn't convince. There's no convincing at all. She's like, "You want work here?" And he's like, "Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, whatever."
His exact words are, "It'll work."
Yeah, it'll work. And so then this guy goes up to Betty, Chris, and he goes, "Hey, can I help you with anything?" And she says,
"Well, this is usually what the super or the duper. They're getting
no,
an argument."
No. This is one of the boys. This is the. So he goes up and he asks her. He goes like, "Oh, can I help you with anything?" She goes, "Can you hold this pump?"
Oh yeah. So he holds his pump, and she walks off, and she's like watching the goods like go back and forth, and looking at the backside.
We have like a 30-second shot of this girl walking away in shorts.
And this is the gag which you see 3 miles away is his face is staring, and he goes, "Oh!" And he looks down to the gas pump. It's on, squirting his pants from his crotch down.
He's got it like right on his dick.
Yeah.
And he's just squirting the shit out of his pants with gas.
Yeah.
I was saying, I am so hoping that he's going to catch on fire. Like, now that's a gag.
Yeah. You know what would have happened is she looked back and he's on fire and he goes, guess he couldn't take the heat.
It would have been a good gag if he caught on fire and was still looking at her ass.
Yeah.
Like, he never stopped. He's like, so then we cut from that to, we watch Roger try to put on a jumpsuit for, I'm not even kidding, about 3 minutes.
It's like watching a firefighter get ready.
Like,
if he never put on turnouts in the first place. This is like a rookie getting ready to fight a fire.
It's like the director on set. And he's like, well, the movie's a little short, so take your time, kid. Take your time. Put the whole suit on.
One leg at a time, one sleeve at a time.
He's like, oh, it's stuck. Just keep going. Keep going. So we watch him for 3 minutes struggle to put on a jumpsuit. And then, so there's this one girl, this mute girl that hangs out with them that just looks uncomfortable all the time. I'm not sure why she's even here or in the movie.
Yeah.
But she just kind of like sits around and mopes, and she's like, well, nobody talks to me and nobody likes me.
Well, why is she there?
I know, I'm just like,
whose friend is she?
What the fuck is the point of having this girl?
Who invited her?
You would think like they're going to do something where she's like some unattractive girl or something. No, she just looks like the other girls.
Yeah.
But for some reason, nobody talks to her, and she just kind of sits around in the corners, and she's just all depressed all the time. She looks like she's about to... She might be the one who grabs that match and finally sets this place in place. So now, basically, everybody works here. So they're all mechanics now, and the girls will pump the gas and check those dipsticks. And
are
do
they
those
certified?
Lube jobs.
Who's certified to work this body shop?
Chris, it's 79. You don't have to be certified for shit. So we go later.
That's right. This is before AIDS was invented. That's right.
Okay. Yes. This is pre-AIDS.
Yeah.
Where the world was better,
Yeah.
Nobody fucked that monkey yet.
Nope. Raw dogs left and right.
Oh, God.
Mayo.
Speaking of raw dogging, Chris. So we go to a shot of a guy. Okay, so now I didn't get this part. So this guy is like going to get his car fixed, okay?
Yeah.
Right? And apparently in this place, to get your car fixed, you drive into the garage, like you, the person, drive into the garage, and they put you up on the lift. Mm-hmm. and do the work while you're sitting in your car. And I mean, they like put him like a good 5 feet in the air. I'm like, I didn't know that you were supposed to do that, but it's never happened to me.
I don't think they're supposed to. I think there's no thing. They're just like, oh, this is fun. I'll go in the car and I'll tell you guys because they got to work on the brake light. So he's pressing the pedal, and I don't think you're supposed to.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Who checks the brake lights while the thing's in the air?
Yeah,
like check it on the ground.
Yeah,
that's
thank
easy
you.
Enough.
Yeah, I got to get up there
because
so you guys
that's all
can
he
check
said
the
was
lights.
he's like, can you just check the brakes?
Yeah.
Okay, but by the way, I thought this was a random guy.
No, I thought this was one of the guys that.
This is fucking gas on the crotch guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But now he's dressed as some hillbilly with like overalls on.
Yeah.
And like April kind of walks up. She's like, "Oh, you look real cute in your overalls." And he's like, and he gets in the car, goes on that lift, and then Chris.
Oh boy, out she pops from the back seat, topless, ready to go, raring.
And he's like, "Whoa!"
Like, how did she get back there?
This is like a scene out of the Cheerleaders, another movie we've covered. Like, it really is. It's like, he's gonna play that song. And so she pops out and she goes up to the front seat, and he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, thought you could get some company."
How do you think she got there without anybody noticing? I think she went through the tailpipe, like a genie.
But she comes up, I know, and she's a quick undresser, you know. Well, never mind, their shirts are non-existent in this movie.
Just. I think she just poured water on it.
At one point, they'll change their outfits to almost even more revealing clothing, which I didn't think was possible. So she pops out of that back seat, and they just start getting busy. And then all of a sudden, they start lowering the car, and he's like, oh, no. He's like, do an oil change.
Yeah.
And then so like he's basically yelling at him to keep doing more work while she's doing work.
And she's what kind of work is she doing, Mike?
Well, I do like the point where they're like kissing, and at one point he just kind of like pushes her head down. He's like, yeah, get down. There you go. And he keeps saying, oh boy. And then, you know, the car's a rocket and everything, and then they finish up the oil change and lowers it up, and he just says, good job.
Yeah.
Quite the lube job there.
Well, they knew what was going on, like 3/4 of the way through, like,
Yeah, they're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's their friend.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that work there. He should have been like, just leave it up here, boys. I'll be done. Give me 5 minutes, you know?
3 if she doesn't use teeth.
So then we go, so it's now later, and they have rigged some giant PA system.
Yeah.
This is where things start to get even weirder.
Yeah.
They rig some PA system to the front of this gas station, and like one of the girls gets on the PA, and she starts doing like a siren's call out to cars on the road, because she's like, hey, why don't you come on in to Joe's Super Duper? We'll check your dipstick for you. We'll fill you up. You can fill us up. Mm-hmm. And like... It works because some guy in a stupor pulls into the gas station, and his wife looks at him and she's like, you know, what? It's like, Roger, why did you pull in here? And he's like, I don't really know.
It kind of comes out of it like in a daze. Like, where am I?
He does. And she's like, why did you pull in here? He's like, who
are you?
Where are we? And like, Betty kind of leans in the window, you know, and, you know, all provocatively. And she's like, what'll it be? And he's like, fill her up. And I wrote, I don't even think they needed gas. I think they just magically showed up at this station. And the wife says something. She slaps him. She's like, really? At your age? And so then, like, another siren's call. She's like, yeah, come in and get some gas. You there in the convertible. And this guy, which is going at about, I don't know, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Just fucking slams on his brakes. It comes to like a complete stop before an intersection. And this nerd guy stops and like looks
Rivers
over.
Cuomo.
Why'd you come up with this?
Because he looks just like him.
And so he looks over, Chris, and he's like got his glasses are fumbling around. He's like, what? And she goes like, don't you need any gas? And he goes, no. And she's like, come on, even a little bit. And he's like, and like I said, like in a stupor.
Yeah.
just turns into the station.
Like the car's like salamandering around this parking lot.
He takes a while. Like,
Yeah.
okay, he wasn't in the right-hand turn lane.
No,
he
no,
was
no.
like in the left-hand turn lane, and he like kind of like 2 miles an hour kind of weaves his way into the gas station, and he gets up there and he's just like, I guess fill her up, and if you could check my oil, that would be great. And so like this is apparently how they're gonna get customers, is they're just gonna siren call out, and it works because all of these cars just start lining up.
Yeah.
And like cars from Archie Bunker's station are like putting in reverse and then like slamming on the gas full speed to get across the street. They're like, oh fuck, boobs. It's like they didn't drive past and see this.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Like I pass the same landmarks all the way to like your work or anything, and usually you notice when something's different. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's different. Oh, change of scenery.
Oh, they painted that gas station pink, and there's a bunch of girls running around naked outside. That's a change for Joe's. But the siren call works, and then like so all these cars are over there, and like Archie Bunker doesn't have any customers, and he gets fucking pissed about it, and he like runs out to one of his guys who pumps gas, and he grabs him by the collar, and he's like, "You let him get away!"
Let him get away.
And then he looks over, and he just at first notices the girls.
Yeah.
Like he had never even noticed that they were running a gas station.
Yeah, like how many times does this guy come into work? Does he just go in his office and like the sun comes up, sun goes down, now I'm leaving?
The first time he saw them, it was through his own window in his chair. Literally, he just had to turn his head to the left. And he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he can see Joe's out of the corner of his eye, but apparently now just realizes the half-naked girl's pumping gas over there.
Right.
So then we see later, there's just cars piling up at Joe's Super Duper. That's a success. And Chris, did you notice in that line of cars, there was a yellow van?
Yes, I did. Yes.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the greaser guys.
Yeah.
Oh boy, if you thought that was the last we saw of them, nope, they're back.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, they just kind of, so they say something like, hey, did you hear about that gas station? Yeah, let's go rough them up or something. And they just kind of ride on over to the gas station. We have to watch like some fucking 3-minute shot of like it's Easy Rider or some
no,
shit.
it looks
of them.
like I was watching with my girlfriend. She goes, "It looks like they're like Super Mario Kart or something." It's the same music, and like I was waiting for one of them to like throw out a banana peel and like
They're on a rainbow road.
yeah, like a tortoise shell is gonna spin around and like.
So they they pull into the gas station to cause some mischief, I guess.
Yeah.
And so like they kind of walk in. And these guys, by the way, this is like a 10-year-old's version of a gang.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
They just kind of walk in and they're like kicking their feet around, wearing their leather jackets. And he just walks in and one of the guys goes, "What is this? What is this? A gas station or a circus?" It's like, well, I don't even get that joke. What? And he goes, "Yeah, it's real nice. It's real nice. But I think it looks nicer like this."
Picks up a trash can and just dumps it all over the place. Okay. Nothing like one of the girls or guys can't sweep up later. Okay.
But then they just start kicking the trash.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That'll teach them. Teach them what?
Tip of commerce and business.
So then they just kind of like sit around and everybody watches them. Nobody does anything. The girls are just kind of looking
Yeah.
at them confused. Like,
Yeah, I would be
don't
confused.
understand. Did they want to buy something or
Are they helping?
And then like June goes and gets Roger and he comes out and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Get out of here." And they're like, "Hey, this place is open to the public." And he's like,
I'm the public, aren't I?
and he goes, "Yeah, the public nuisance."
Yeah.
Good guy.
Oh.
So then basically, oh yeah, one of the greasers tries to throw oil on Roger and then it accidentally hits Betty.
Yeah.
And then nothing comes of this. She
No,
just
she
goes,
just goes behind a stack of tires and
I've
changes.
never seen a scene slower paced in my fucking
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like everything happens at a snail's crawl in this scene. Like what should have taken 10 seconds is like stretched out to like 10 minutes
Yeah.
of this. And there's multiple shots of like no music, no sound, of just people standing there waiting for the next person to hit their mark or
Yeah.
something. And so then I guess the greasers are just still kind of mingling, like just wandering around,
Yeah, I
wondering
don't like
what to do.
Yeah, I would have called the police at that point. Like, there's trespassers.
Yeah,
they
it's
just,
like, are you guys done? You kicked over the trash can. Haha, very funny. Can you leave, please? We're running a business here.
yeah.
But they like walk over to Roger while he's working on a car, Oh, no, I'm sorry. Before that, there's literally one of the worst line deliveries in history is June comes up to them after they throw oil on Betty, right? And she goes, "You're horrible." Or no, she goes, "You're terrible."
You're terrible.
And then, oh my God, this is amazing. Is they go, "That's us, the terrible vultures."
Oh my God.
And they do this pose that looks like what a 2-year-old does around their parents' living room as like pretending to be an airplane.
Yeah.
And this is their like gang sign. And
Yeah.
they're like, "That's us, the terrible vultures." And they like do the little airplane move.
They put like their quote wings out, then they droop their heads down to their chest and just shake it.
I like to imagine them like coming up with that move. They're like,
Yeah.
how are we going to intimidate people? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe something like this. Oh, there you go. There you go. I was scared.
Scared of my boots.
And so then they like kind of walk over and Roger's working on a car and they get in this fight where they start squirting liquid at each other.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a problem with this. The car's running
Yes.
and they're squirting oil and water at each other. I'm like, this has got to be like scalding hot,
yeah.
right?
Someone's gonna get burned or scarred.
And they're just laughing and squirting hot oil at each other. It was like, I can imagine the first one. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you don't know how to work on a car. You got to work on it like this." And he squirts him with the hot oil, and then just Roger's face gets scalded and mangled. He has to go to the doctor.
Aren't you the guy that tried to eat the hot dog?
Oh, God.
Yep. Little Van Nuys
Oh,
reference.
no, the Subway sandwich.
Subway. Yeah, that's right. Subway sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll go back to the same hospital. My face is burned.
Yeah. Again.
So basically, somehow this all ends. This whole scene of nothingness ends with June somehow convincing the greasers to now become the tow truck drivers for this gas station in a scene where she goes up to him and she's like, "Hey, do you think you could drive that truck?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And one of his friends like, "She's pulling your ding dong." And then he like looks at June seriously and like holds her by the shoulder and looks at her in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns to his friends and he goes, "No, this chick is sincere."
Yeah, like
Like, what? Wait, what?
what is she? Is he like doing some kind of Vulcan mind meld?
I'm like, if there's one thing this actress is not, it's sincere. Like, so we cut to later, and now the greasers have, quote, vulturized the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So now it looks like...
It's got hot rodded flames on the front. It's all black.
like, this paint job would have taken weeks for
Yeah.
this fucking guy.
But this is presumably that night, maybe
Yeah.
an hour later.
And then... Oh, no, I love this part. So now Archie Bunker has apparently hired some 80-year-old gangsters.
Yeah.
And I am not kidding. Like,
Yeah.
this guy, like, gets out of a fucking wheelchair, basically. Got the handicap sign hanging from his, his windshield.
Yeah.
And he hires these guys to, quote, take care of business over at Joe's. And so, okay, but then we have to watch the greasers tow a car, which is fucking useless.
Yeah, waste of time.
However, we also learned that the greasers like to sing songs.
Yeah.
These guys are such a bunch of hardcore gang members that they roll around singing this song where they're like, ooh, wah, ooh, wah. Just, ooh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. They're practicing their barbershop routine.
Yeah.
All they need is a fourth member. Yeah.
Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Your mother is a ooh, ah.
So then we go back to Joe's, right? And so the elderly monsters
God.
come into the station. And this is the worst shakedown in history.
Yeah.
So these like two decrepit old men, like basically one step away from having walkers, come into June's office and like they're all right, you're done. You're gonna have to shut down. And even June is confused.
Yeah.
She's just kind of looking around like, huh? What? And they're like, all right, little lady. We're gonna shut this place down. And like one of the guys like grabs an oil can
Yeah.
and then he like tries to find the trash can to throw it in.
I thought you were just like trying to make a mess. He's like,
Yeah. Not even. He just kind of like takes it and then he's like, where's the trash? But she gets confused and just kind of turns on the PA system. And so everybody can hear what they're saying now. And the greasers have come back from towing a car.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently everybody's just too scared to do anything because the greasers come back and they ask Roger, they're like, hey, what happened? He's like, well, I don't know. These guys are in the office and they got June with a gun. I'm like, nobody didn't see a gun, but like go in there and get them out. These
Yeah.
guys are 80 years old.
Yeah.
Like the reaction time is not going to be enough for you to just bum rush them and fucking throw them out of this place. Or you know what? Call the cops.
Yeah. Well, I remember because he tells her to turn around, and he goes, "Turn around, Minnie." Missy.
Wait, we haven't got there yet because I got a real problem with that.
Me too.
It's basically so the greaser guy says I got a plan. Then we cut into, but I said I wouldn't listen to anything that this greaser guy has as a plan.
No.
Because nothing has worked out well so far. They sure didn't teach them a lesson by kicking over that trash can.
No.
Although they did get a job out of it, so maybe that was their goal.
Resume. Kick the trash can.
We just decided now that we want to be tow truck drivers. That's a lifelong dream. So we go back to that office, Chris. And what's the mobster's state of June?
He's telling her, "I want you to turn around, Missy. I don't want to have to look into your eyes for what am I about to do to you." And it's presumed.
like, what?
It's presumed he has a gun, but he's not holding a gun.
Okay, but he says that. He says, I don't want you to see what I'm going to do to you. Or I can't look into your eyes what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah.
But saying like, so what? He's going to fucking execute her in the middle of the day, by the way, with customers all outside in a windowed office where people can clearly see in and every employee is still standing there.
Well, I thought he was going to like sexually abuse her at first because he doesn't have a gun. And he's old, so how can he get it up anyway? So that went out the window.
What I wrote in my notes was, obviously, they want to go and get their work done early so they can hit that early bird special and then, go off to bed early.
Yeah.
But maybe this would have been better to do at night, maybe at her house.
Yeah.
This is like 2:00 in the afternoon, and they're sitting in a gas station. They're like, all right, we're going to murder you.
A little wet work goes a long way at 2:00 in the afternoon.
But you know how you distract an 80-year-old gangster, Chris?
Oh, yeah, with the topless, late, early 20-something that does the old, shoulder thrust through the doorway.
Our old friend April walks through the door topless, and one of the guys is like, and he tells the guy, he's like, oh, did you see that? And he's like, no. And he's like, well, I'm going over there. And so he walks over, and then the greasers hit him with a board. And then another girl walks up topless, and the other guy goes over, and then he gets hit with a board. And basically this just ends with all of them standing above the mobsters.
Yeah.
And this is when I write, every plan in this movie is so fucking half-assed. It's insane. Like, they come up with an idea, and then the execution is just so... Like, there's nothing left of the imagination. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. And I can't even wait until this movie's almost over.
Yeah.
And the last two ideas they come up with, oh, fuck. So basically this ends with a dance party.
Yeah.
Is we fade to night, and now all the workers are just there. The greasers, the girls, the guys. They're all just having a dance party over at Joe's. And then Pee-wee and the girl who never talks kind of hook up. And I write, this is one of the worst meet cutes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
It's basically them walking around not talking to each other. And at one point he calls her Attila the Hun. And that's about it.
Yeah. Done.
They go in the tow truck. They make out. Wonderful. We go to later. So now the greasers are just sitting in front of the gas station, I guess at night, holding baseball bats and singing their song again.
Yeah.
And then some kid.
Yeah, like a little 12-year-old kid runs by.
He walks up and he's like, I want to help you guys. We've never seen this kid before. We'll never see him again.
Another wasted runtime, Mike. Runtime.
Oh, it is. It's like they've like, oh, fuck, we need 2 minutes.
Yeah.
This scene plays no purpose. They're just like, hey, kid, go home, go to bed. That's it. That's how it ends. The next day, everyone's working at a station and just fucking partying. Like, no gas is being pumped. And, like, April's, like, holding the windshield cleaner, but she's not even putting it on the windshield.
Yeah.
She's just kind of, like, going like this over the windshield, like, a good 3 feet off it.
So did you notice... I want to say, with that in mind, a lot of the scenes with the convertibles and the guys are in when they're pulling in and driving around, they had to like rip off the rearview mirror because it was going to obstruct the shots.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So if you look closely, you can see the little dot where the rearview mirror was.
So they ripped them all off. Interesting.
Yeah.
But like this gas station has now just turned into like one big party. And there's like a full-on dance sequence between Betty and one of the greaser guys, and they're doing like a grease routine, and all these customers are just in a circle, like clapping and everything. I'm right. No gas is being fucking pumped. This is terrible. Like, I could imagine being pissed.
I'm stuck in there while this dance party is happening around me. Like, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, you're like, this is your car. You're like, all right, very cute. Can I please leave?
Now they're doing the twist on my hood.
Hello,
Great.
I'd like some gas.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes at this part, I'd go to Archie's. I'd be like, fuck this gas station.
I would drive through the people farmers market style and just go to Archie's.
That's how the 80-year-old mobster should have done it. They should have done farmers market style and just rolled through the fucking front office and just killed everybody.
And they
were like, we thought it was the break. If you're 80, you get away with it.
Yeah, you can get basically anything. You chalk it up to geriatrics, you know.
And okay, so I write these notes while this whole dance sequence is happening because it's very long. I write, I'm still waiting for the actual conflict in this movie to develop. We are nearing the 1 hour mark, and if my knowledge holds up for 70s films, a major conflict is going to develop within the next 5 minutes that we should have gotten at the end of Act 1.
Yeah.
I'm writing this as the Greaser and Betty have an extended dance scene while customers just clap. This is the worst gas station in history. And I wrote, also, it pisses me off that this gas station is supposed to be sexy. Sexiness and gas does not mix.
No.
It is literally the antithesis of sexy is being in a gas station. It is fucking dirty. It's gross. I don't want anything.
It smells bad.
Titillating going on at a gas station.
Especially
I want
that
to
time.
leave as soon as fucking possible. Jeez. Like, these girls wearing crop tops and everything. Like, again, not a speck of dirt on them. And it's like they're checking oil, they're pulling dipsticks, they're pumping gas.
There's not a towel in their hand, a paper towel, no rags.
It would be filthy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So then they go over to Archie's. They have no customer. And then just one guy pulls up and he's like, you got any free map? And they just say no, and he gets all disappointed and leaves. And then Archie, he goes into his office and he picks up this red Batman phone. And just apparently he's calling this petroleum office.
Yeah.
Now this is where this movie starts to get even weirder.
Yep.
So we cut to the inside of this petroleum office, and this guy who apparently works in an office with 3 belly dancers that light cigarettes for him. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
This is just like a funny tongue-in-cheek commentary on the oil industry.
Oh my god. So he basically answers the phone and he says, I'll take care of it. And I write, Jesus Christ, they couldn't even try. They couldn't even try. We need some conflict. We need something to happen. And he's just like, I don't know. He picks up a red phone like he's fucking Batman.
Yeah.
He calls this guy. He just says he'll take care of it. That's it. That's all you need.
But don't really like see them take care of it. It just
No, I'll
presumed.
quote, take care of it.
Yeah, it's just presumed things were taken care of, and that's the next big obstacle they have to overpass.
Yeah, so basically what happens is we fade to later, and we're back at Joe's, and June and the girls are all bummed because apparently they've run low on gas, and there's no delivery truck for the gas. And then she gets on the phone and calls up the petroleum company, and they said there's a local shortage. She can't get any gas. So she basically... Okay, so June hangs up the phone and then almost looks down the barrel of the lens.
No, I think she does look down the barrel of the lens.
Like
what are we
looking
going to
right
do
at
now?
the director.
Yeah.
And she goes, there's something fishy going on here. And I write, yeah, there is. And then this is what I kind of broke down. I wrote, this whole idea is fucking stupid. Why would a petroleum company play favorites? They just want to sell fucking gas. Yeah. All right, maybe if they raise the prices or something, I could see a price war going on where like Archie's station's a little bit less than theirs. And like people are like, oh, I'd like to buy gas from you, but it's so expensive. But no. They're not that creative, apparently. 3 people couldn't come up with that idea that I came up with while watching this movie that would make more fucking sense than, I don't know, they just don't have any gas. That worked.
Done.
So some guy in a Corvette pulls up. He's like asking June if he can fill up. Uh-oh, they're out of gas. We fade to later, and everybody's just kind of standing around doing nothing. And they look over at Archie's, and they somehow know it's his fault. And then one of the greasers says, why don't we just go murder him? And I write... Luckily, somebody goes, no, we can't do that. Which I would have loved to have seen if that's just how it ended. It was like, yeah, let's go fucking kill him, huh? And then June, she basically hatches a plan, and we see the wheels turning. She looks up into the sky. That blimp's going by again. Yeah. We see her mind racing. And she's like, I got a plan. And I'm like, I wonder if it's another dance number. But no.
That's her muse, Mike. That's the only way she gets ideas is through dance numbers and singing.
Okay, apparently this is the plan, Chris. Is we cut to the night, and the greasers and some guy with a plant on his head just carry a bunch of hoses over to Archie's station, but we just cut. Then it's the next day, and like Roger, all the girls and the greasers pull up like they're going to the beach. So all the girls are in bikinis and like they're carrying a beach ball.
Yeah.
And all the guys are in their swimsuits, and the greasers still have their leather jackets on, even though they're wearing swimsuits. And they basically ask the guy, they're like, hey, can you fill our car up?
Yeah, they look like they're in Wham or something.
And then Pee-wee and the mute girl call up to like distract for whatever this stupid fucking plan's
a little
gonna be.
beach ball party. Hoo-hoo.
And he just pulls up as a nerd. Apparently he had to dress as a nerd.
Yeah.
And he's just like, can you tell me how to get to Main Street? And distracts one of the guys. And then the girls, so the girls get out of the car and they just start kind of doing jumping jacks and throwing a beach ball around and playing around.
Yeah.
While this guy pumps the gas. And then so their plan is this greaser guy attaches a hose to their gas tank, and then the hose goes all the way across the street and goes into their tank in the ground.
Because their meters flip over after $10.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, if your plan is to pay full price for gas, I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah, because after a certain time, because they know how gas pumps work, presumably. So they're just going to hit the thing whenever it's like a reasonable price, like $3. But apparently the way they handle the gas tanks is they just let it roll over and over and over.
So yeah, it just keeps going and going and going, and they're pumping, and all the guys there are just kind of looking at the girls, and the girls are just distracting all these gas pump guys with their beach ball routine and jumping jacks and just dancing around. And then basically it ends. Their whole fucking plan is like, we're gonna just steal gas by pumping it.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically, so it ends with them the guy's like, I guess you only owe $3. And at this point, or $6 total, because I got regular and...
Yeah, they had to mix it up.
Regular
like,
and
yeah,
super.
it gets better mileage, and you mix them. And he's like, oh, you don't say. Huh.
Because the one guy goes, he's like, what do you mean you want both? What are you doing, making a fucking cocktail?
Yeah.
So basically, he says, all right, well, you owe $6. And I write, well, I don't know 1970s, but I assume that's like $400 in today's money. So I didn't get the joke that it was like they were rolling over the prices. I just didn't understand this. We end this by having a gas pump wipe. Thank God.
Oh, yeah, that transition and the music,
the
sound effects. It's like some kind of Tron, like early electronic.
Well, Chris, this didn't work because now they're out of gas again over at Joe's. Uh-oh. And I read, I guess they can't pull this scam every day. So then they kind of just sit around and wonder what to do. They're waiting for June's brain to start firing up those synapses and just start creating some sort of plan. She does. So basically, she...
This is great.
Well, before that happens, Archie Bunker walks over with a cigar again. Just walking over to a gas station with a lit cigar, ashing all over the fucking place. And he just is like, you stupid broads, you never beat me, you never! And he just walks away. And June kind of like riles up the troops.
Yeah.
She's just like, we can't let that happen to us. We gotta fight back. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. Like, it's just a gas station. Jesus.
So she gets them all, like, happy and motivated, but they still don't have a plan. And then June sees the gas delivery truck come to Archie's across the street. So she runs over, and she asks the guy, she's like, what happened? And he's like, they changed my route. There's nothing I could do. My hands are tied. It's coming from the top. But if you want to go talk to the oil baron, you can follow me over there. Mm-hmm. So this movie ends with them... Okay, so first of all, they follow the trucks. Everybody gets in their car, and they follow the trucks over to this petroleum place, right? The refinery.
Yeah.
And the best part is they try and get in, and the guy goes, no. So then we need a useless scene of them sitting in a grass field, and they're like, well, what are we going to do? And June goes, I know. And Chris, the most brilliant fucking plan.
This, I slow clapped when I saw it, because now they got the vultures dressed up as like a motorcade. I don't know where the hell they got this car.
Okay, they rented cop uniforms for all the greasers.
Yeah.
They rented a fucking limo.
Yeah.
And apparently went to the local costume shop.
Yeah. Got like all of the Middle Eastern Arab costumes they could. And, because if you're going that far, you might as well do the brown face too.
Middle Eastern Arab is like... I mean, this is like fucking out of Aladdin. So, like, all the girls are dressed in, like, belly dancer outfits.
Yeah, it's like they're on their way to, like, their Disneyland audition.
Yeah, I mean, they look like Princess Jasmine. And they got the little, like, the little thing over their nose.
Yeah, the
and
veils.
everything.
Yeah, the facial...
And then their plan is to dress the whitest guy in the whole group and maybe the whitest man in the whole world.
Yeah.
up as an Arab sheik, which is Roger.
Yeah.
And they dress him up with a turban on his head, with the sheik thing on his head, right? And he rolls down the window and he just starts yelling gibberish at the guard. He's like, like,
just going off.
And then the guy's like, oh, right away, sir. And opens the gate and lets them in.
Yeah.
And then
no credentials, no ID. Well, I love the car has the flags of the pyramid logo, pyramid gas. I love that little touch.
Shalom aleichem. Muji katab muji muji.
What?
Katab muji muji. Borro borro alamara.
The greasers, by the way, are dressed up like cops, but like riding Harley Davidsons.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a cop motorcycle.
No.
Like any guy with a fucking brain would know that. This guy's got like the 6 foot tall handlebars, and he's like, yeah, I'm a cop. Yeah, no, some white guy. I guess he's an Arab sheik, so they let him in. They walk through the office, and then these Arab guys walk out of another office because this petroleum place is just a fucking haven for every Arab person in the entire country goes here. And the guys in Arabic just say to each other, well, something about how these guys definitely aren't Arab.
Yeah.
They can see it from a fucking mile away. They're like, who, the belly dancers is a beautiful touch, guy. I mean, really. I mean, what the fuck is this? Basically,
maybe those are his wives.
Oh, there you go. So they basically make their way into the office by convincing the receptionist to let them in. She's like, what part of Arabia? I swear that's what
North
she
side,
says.
west side.
Are you from? Oh, yeah, the west side. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You can go get a meeting. And they walk in.
Go get a meemeeting.
They walk in and they basically go like, all right, everybody, take off your costumes. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then they the only way that June reveals herself is to just take off that little veil.
Yeah, that's it.
And then Greg like takes off his chic hat, and the guy's like, "Whoa!" Like he couldn't have fathomed it. This was just the most amazing surprise to him. Like he's like, "Oh, you got me!" They weren't fooling anybody. Basically, they're like, "Why wouldn't you give us gas?"
Yeah, that's
and
about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then June is like, "Well, let me tell you the whole story."
And we get the funny like dream wipe.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, do we have to hear this whole movie from front to
That would have been
finish?
amazing.
Like her narrating it.
But instead, it cuts back to, and then the guy is like crying.
Yeah, he's got tears in his eyes.
And he goes, "That's the saddest story I've ever heard." And I write, "Well, he didn't hear the same story as us." and I wrote, "I wonder if she included all the sex scene parts in it."
Then there was this lift, and a guy in overalls, and he put his hands on my top of my head, and just I didn't know what to do.
You know what would have been amazing is if the movie, see, it's not that smart, but it should have faded to this scene, and she was telling the whole story to him, and like the whole beginning of the movie led up to this point.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like, and that's the whole story.
Yeah.
And it would have been great because then the guy would have looked at her and he's like, "Well, that was an interesting story. You could have left out the sex scenes. Also, I didn't need to know about you losing your virginity that night."
Yeah.
Or about your uncle having a heart attack. I mean, you could have just asked for the gas. I mean, it's... So this ends with, basically he says like, "Well, I'll need to think about it." And it ends with a shot of Joe super duper looking like a fucking trash can.
Yeah, a dump.
But we pan over to now Uncle Joe is working over at Archie's gas station.
Yeah.
And he's the manager. Mm-hmm. And his niece pulls up with the car, and he's got his hands all over her. Hey, looking good, baby. You're looking good. And then Archie is pumping gas now. Like he's been demoted to gas pump.
Yeah,
guy,
apparently, yeah.
Which I don't know why he just wouldn't go find a new job.
Yeah.
Also, if he didn't own the business, what the fuck interest does he have in shutting down another gas station? Because I was like, you can't just take a guy's business and be like, no, it's his now.
Yeah,
like, you
it
can't
doesn't make
just fucking
sense.
do that.
Yeah.
We know he's been demoted to gas pump guy, and he's okay with it.
Yeah.
And Uncle Joe now is smoking cigars around the gas pumps. And I write, for one of two things. One, again, with the smoking next to a gas pump. And two,
didn't you have a heart attack?
Yeah, did you have a fucking heart attack? And June even says something. She's like, "Uncle Joe, are you sure that's a good idea?" And he's like, "Doctor's orders."
Again, this doctor needs to be reevaluated by the board.
But this movie ends with just him saying, "She was always my favorite niece."
Yeah.
And it fades out. It should have said, "Rest in peace, Joe."
It says in memoriam. It just shows like this explosion of a gas station as a freeze frame in black and white.
And that's it. Movie's over.
Yeah.
Recommendation?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'd say it's a fun one.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see if these shows are enjoyable for you people if we enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you people.
But it was a fun one. I'd recommend it.
Highly.
You can see it for free on Amazon Prime. You can also find it on Daily Motion, I believe.
Yeah, in 2 parts.
Or like there's an actual if you pay for it on YouTube, it is like fully remastered. It's $2.99 and you can watch the movie full remastered version.
That's overkill. I mean, there's plenty of other films out there to remaster, and they chose this.
For some reason, this is a really popular 70s movie.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's just
fun.
like any of the others we've seen.
Fun.
I mean, it's got fun parts.
Yeah,
you know, it's like a Crown movie.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
You hear that sound, Mo?
Yeah, I do.
Chris?
I do. If this is the first time you're listening to this program, we always go back to our first film we ever covered, 1977's The Van, and how those two characters, Stuart Goetz's character, Bobby Hampton, big ginger redhead.
I didn't even know he had a last name.
He did, Wikipedia. Look it up. Look it up. Story about a high school ginger kid who gets a big yellow garish van by working at his car wash job with the intent of luring women into it and having his way, and also his employer, Danny DeVito, Andy in the movie, who also has a little racket going. How these two would go together in any movie we cover.
Chris?
Well, that big yellow. This is open and closed.
This is an easy one.
This is open and shut. That big yellow van. What is the van? That was them. They decided to go in the lift, and Bobby's like, "Hey, I need you guys to check out my air filter inside the air conditioner." So June's like, "Okay," and he gets her in, and he has DeVito like run the air pressure to get it up in the air, and he goes, "Hiya, Bobby, hiya, hiya!" And then DeVito like closes the door of the body shop so nobody can get in. But the problem is Bobby has the gas running, the engine running, and he's like, I'm getting a little lightheaded. And then they both pretty much pass out, and he dies with a raging boner.
I imagine some scene with like Bobby opening the back of the van door and the April being in there, ready on the waterbed.
Yeah.
But somehow he messes it up by like maybe DeVito comes by and he goes like, "Bobby, we gotta go," and he shuts the door like maybe on Bobby's boner. Like I imagine a boner getting stuck in a car door. Or I was thinking how great would it have been if like that scene where Uncle Joe goes, "She was always my favorite niece," and then you hear da-da-da, da-da-da, and then the van just goes plowing through the gas station, explosion, movie over.
Yeah.
Oh my god, could you imagine if Bobby stumbled upon Joe's Super Duper? Oh my lord,
man.
would this kid be happy.
Yeah.
I think he might have a heart attack.
His testicles will look like raisins after one day.
Him and DeVito pull up, and DeVito's so shocked. He's like, "Bobby, I gotta go to the hospital." He's like, "Not now, Andy." "Oh, Bobby."
It's like clutching the dashboard.
No, not any longer.
It's like slamming all the dials.
Come for help. Like, because it's in Sacramento, DeVito and Bobby were just on their yearly road trip. Well, thanks again for joining us, everybody. Another episode of the Grindbin. If you want to get in touch with us, grindhousefilm.com. Join the conversation over there. Grindbin@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter @GrindPod, Instagram as well, and Facebook.
And if you are listening on iTunes podcast, don't forget to hit that purple rectangular subscribe button. We would be ever so grateful. And Mike, is that promotion we are running still apply?
Yes, so for the next few weeks, we're going to be covering listener requests on this show. Those listeners gave us 5-star reviews on iTunes and requested a movie. And if you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, you can also have your movie on this show. We will blind watch it. We promise you we will not watch it beforehand. If it sucks, it's on you.
Yeah.
And people love when we hate their movies. I think that about does it.
Bobby, pump it up.
You can do it fast or slow to make it last. 'Cause any way you do it, there's gonna be magic to it. Because love is the gas